All right, with us now, Misty Marris, attorney at law. Misty, I have to say, this is surprising to us because we didn't think the demolition was going to start for a little while. There were still some legal issues. Would an injunction happen? It's sort of game over there. This house is now being torn down. How surprised are you to see this happen?
I was absolutely shocked to see that this demolition is going forward before the trial. And there's several reasons here. The demolition is moving forward because the owner had donated the property to the school after the murders happened, to the university. And the university has now decided that they are going to, they want to demolish the property. This happened back in August that this began to unfold. But what I would have thought would happen is that prosecutors would step in and say, no way, this is a critical piece of evidence in the case. It has to be preserved like any other piece of evidence through trial. However, in this case, prosecutors did not contest the demolition, nor did the defense attorneys. That to me was a pretty shocking part of this, because that structure of the house, the fact that it's 3 floors, the logistics of how this horrific murder could have happened is of critical importance in the trial for both sides, the prosecution and defense. So it's quite shocking that this is moving forward. We don't even have a trial date yet. Meanwhile, the demolition is starting earlier than planned.
Yeah, again, as I said, this debate is academic now because you can see these pictures of the house being destroyed here. But if you were doing the prosecution, how would you have used the still standing house in your arguments?
Absolutely. This is a really important point, John, and this is why from a trial perspective, I'm so surprised. Now, prosecutors, the district attorney made a statement that they did not intend to use the house for a jury site visit. A reminder to the folks watching, a jury site visit is when the jury actually goes to where a crime occurred and takes a look. It's worth so much more to see the actual property, the actual area where this happened, and particularly critical importance in this case, where there's so many logistical issues about how this actually was done by one person. And so the fact that we have prosecutors just saying, well, it doesn't fall under what the statute would allow, meaning the statute says that if the interior is substantially different from when the crime occurred, that a site visit isn't permissible. Well, John, that's always an arguable point. I expect the defense in this case to say it would be impossible for one person to commit this murder. The defense will likely argue it wasn't Brian. We don't know who it is, but it would be unlikely that one person could do this. And it will be up to the prosecution, who has the burden of proof, to explain to the jurors sitting in that box how 2 murders occur on the 3rd floor, 2 murders on the 2nd floor, and an exit on the 1st floor is feasible. As we talk about it right now, thinking about those logistics of what the prosecutors intend to prove with respect to Kohberger, seeing the property and the staircase and the angles, that is something that I would, from a prosecutorial perspective, be fighting very, very hard for. Now, meanwhile, there are models, there's a lot of technology, site visits are less common, but in this particular case, that property is so important and critical from an evidentiary perspective.
And now the arguments will have to be made without the benefit of actually being there and trying to show the jury how it could happen in their case on both floors. Misty Marris, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.